I'm Christine Persichetti. On day 7 of the terror in the Holy Land, Israel continues to prepare to attack Gaza from the ground, assembling nearly 400,000 troops in a response to Hamas's assault at the border nearly a week ago. The conflict is personal, even for Jews living outside of Israel. Current News' Jessica Easthope sat down with Rabbi Brad Hirschfield, who, like so many others, has family on the front lines.
You called specifically for what and for whom?
Unit 669, and we're looking for a lot of medical supplies, in addition specifically camelbacks.
To the naked eye, Rabbi Brad Hirschfield is a world away from the turmoil in the Middle East.
So 669 is the Rescue and Recovery Elite Unit, and they specifically reached out and they want green, correct?
But the reality is that couldn't be further from the truth.
I have nephews at war. Well, there is nothing special about what I and my family am going through. In fact, we're very lucky. We haven't buried anyone close to us.
Rabbi Hirschfield, the president for the National Jewish Center for Learning and Leadership, and his family are joining the fight from where they are, coordinating supply shipments to displaced civilians and Israeli troops on the front lines.
Yes, march. Yes, donate. Yes, try and rally political support. All of that is absolutely important. I would even say it's sacred. This is a confrontation with evil.
Rabbi Hirschfield says Hamas's initial assault along the Israeli border was also an assault on a free Palestine.
How can I not want self-determination for the Palestinian people? I do. So this is not about a particular view or politics. I want to be clear. There is no but when it comes to shooting and burning babies.
Last Saturday into Sunday saw the most Jews murdered for being Jews since the end of the Holocaust. For Rabbi Hirschfield, having rage is understandable, but it needs to come with a condition.
Show me the person who, with whatever they're feeling on the negative side, can still locate a place of hope. That's how everyone, regardless of view or politics, can actually make a positive difference.
In the coming days, Rabbi Hirschfield will bring a group of American Jewish leaders to Israel to show them what the state is up against. In the Bronx, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Since the war began, many Jewish communities in Brooklyn have been coming together in prayer. This one taking place Thursday night in Clinton Hill. New York City has the largest Jewish community of any city in the world. Rabbi Yossi Eliav says, a local leader, says it's times like these where everyone needs to come together.
There's mixed feelings, you know, there's anger, there's confusion, you just want to cry, you just want to not leave the house, you just not want to go to work. And we need to get together. We need to lift each other up. We need to know that here in America we could do positive, good acts of goodness and kindness that will have an effect on our brothers and sisters in Israel.
We were always taught when something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. And it's up to us to stand up and remember everyone who's been lost and pray for everyone who's in the thick of it right now.
At the end of the vigil, 1,300 candles were lit in the Star of David in honor of the lives lost in Israel. At the same time, many pro-Palestinian groups are holding rallies around the world today. This one here taking place in Amman, Jordan. And in the Big Apple, dozens gathered in Times Square. Many are concerned about violence because the former leader of Hamas called for jihad, asking the Muslim world to join the fight against Israel. New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Governor Kathy Hochul have said there are no credible threats. Still, the NYPD is on high alert with every officer on duty. Joining us now with some inside information on how federal agencies are monitoring the situation here and abroad is former senior officer with the CIA, John Franchi. Hi, John.
Hi, Christine.
So, John, we know there are no credible threats, but speaking from your own experience and from the connections you still have in government security, are there concerns about the possibility of the U.S. being attacked?
I think the concerns there are more inspired attacks, and at this point, at least, what's happened in the situation over in Gaza and with Israel. That people, different groups looking to take advantage of the situation, white extremist groups, anti-Semitic groups looking and seeing common purpose here, and then trying to do, attacks either here in the United States, lone wolves being inspired. I think those are some of the things we have to be concerned about. Harder to monitor, of course, but, I don't think we're really seeing anything specific, any real threats, though, as the government has said so far.
Yeah, and since 9/11, we've always heard the term sleeper cells. So are security agencies right now tracking any specific sleeper cells here in the U.S.?
I think there's always that concern, especially with what's been going on the southern border. And I'm, not trying to be political here, but our borders over the years, last 20 years or more, have been fairly open. It's been fairly easy for groups to get in or people to get in. So I think that's something that the FBI especially has been monitoring over the years, and is probably more so today than at any time.
And we just saw in this newscast some video of pro-Palestinian protests happening around the world, including in the United States. What are intelligence officials learning as they monitor the chatter among the groups that lead these protests?
I think it's all about the connections and planning. Are these protests being used by groups to inspire violence or any other kind of planning or to motivate people? Overseas, the protests are massive, as we've seen already in Amman and Cairo, Yemen, and but that was what Khalid Michel called for people to come out like that. And over in those countries, it's a way countries allow that to happen because they want the population to kind of burn off some steam, get their opinions out there. They monitor them very closely, but they also have to be accepting of how people view these situations. So, here in the States, I think we're going to see some protests. I think today in New York, there's some throughout the country, but in general, I think it's going to be more the same. There's no threats according to anything I've heard. The problem is there's a number of trigger points coming over the future. Whether if the Israelis invade Gaza, if there's things that happen up north with Lebanese Hezbollah, if things get worse in the West Bank, all of those are triggers that could make for more protests and potentially could incite violence. But at this point, no, I think right now they're just kind of watching and seeing and who's involved and who's communicating.
All right, John Franchi, former senior officer with the CIA, thanks so much for your insight.
Thanks, Christine.
Currents News and the Tablet will continue to monitor the terror in the Holy Land, giving you the latest updates from a Catholic perspective. So be sure to follow us online and on social media. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Before we go, we want to say a prayer for peace in the Holy Land. This comes from Pope Francis. Lord, diffuse the violence of our tongues and our hands. Renew our hearts and minds so that the word which always brings us together will be brother, and our way of life will always be that of shalom, peace, salam. Amen. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.